Hi, my name is Tim and this is Timberway Designs. I've been making a series of videos making cabochons out of rocks that I find and purchase. This week we got a rock from South Dakota. A friend of mine gave this to me. We're going to make a cabochon out of this, so let's make a cabochon. So this week's rock. It's AKA a prairie agate. Just about any rock you pick up in South Dakota on the prairie is considered a prairie agate. Actually, it's mixtures of jasper, chert, and quartz, most of them. A true agate from South Dakota would be the Fairburn agate, and I'll put a picture of it right there so you can see what that looks like. This is not a Fairburn agate. This is just a prairie agate. A good friend of mine found this who lives out there, and I try to get out there a couple times a year to look for rocks, but he found this. I did not. So it's got some color in it, some red. I went ahead and slabbed it up, cut the end off, and it's not a bad looking rock. Although I did find that on the inside, it's got like a druzy pocket right here, and it does come all the way through. So I can't use this piece here. As you can see, it's got some pockets in there. So I'm going to try this piece here. Looks like it's got a few fractures, but I think we should be okay. And it's got a little pocket showing there, but it's not showing here, so I'm hoping it don't transfer all the way to the other side. So I'm going to get this one wet so you can see what it looks like. Get an idea what it looks like finished. So I think it'll make a pretty cabochon, and this stuff is usually hard, 7 on the Mohs scale. So I thought this was kind of interesting. It's got some good color play in it. But hopefully we won't see any of that when we finish it. So I'm going to take it, I think we're going to do this design here. And it was a good fit. And let's see, I think we'll do the 1.25. And right about there, I think, looked the best. So we'll get my ultra fine Sharpie here and draw the design on. Then we'll go downstairs, trim it, and grind it down to the line, and then make a cabochon out of it. So let's head downstairs and get started. All right, we're all plugged in here. Got the saw turning, and we're ready to cut this, trim this rock down to the line. Well, that's all the closer I'm getting. We'll take it over in the cabber now and grind it down to the line. All right, we're down here in my Kingsley North 6-inch cabber. I even cleaned the bottom. Look at that. No more crud. I do that sometimes. So we're going to start with the 80 grit, 220, 280, and then I'll hit it on the edge with the 600 because I like to kind of pre-polish the edge. So what I'm hoping, let me get something to point with here, is this does not transfer all the way to this side here. So let's see what happens. Let's get started. All right, when you're grinding these, especially the harder rocks, you can't go right to the edge with the 80 grit. 2 reasons. One, you want a smoother finish on here. And the second, you get what's called conchoidal fractures, that where it actually starts chipping off, and you don't want that going into your line. So on the harder rocks, I'll kind of hold off the line about that far, and then try to, as you can see, I don't have it flat here either, so I'm going to try to make that 90 degrees like that. See, I gotta grind. Let me try to. Gotta grind it flat. All right, that's about as close as I'm comfortable with. We're going to move on to 220 grit. So when you're grinding a radius, if you got a cabochon with a radius on it, do not stop on these two wheels right here. You'll grind a flat spot into it. And then this wheel here will not take it out. You'll have to go back on one of these to take it out. These wheels are not cushioned. The 280 grit on up actually have cushions on them, underneath them. All right, that's close enough, man. This thing is hard. I'll edit out most of this grinding, but man, it took a while to get down to the line here. So we'll move on to the 280 grit now. All right, got that. Let's move on to 600. You won't be able to see that. I'm not going to move the camera for that. Give you an idea of the shine we're going to get. That's just 600 right there. All right, I'm going to take it upstairs and put it on a dop, and then we'll come back down and make a cabochon out of it. All right, we're all dopped up here. And got a little sloppy on the side, but that's okay, it comes off. So we're going to start with the 80 grit, and I'm going to start putting a 45 on this down to a girdle, which I'm going to do about 1/8 inch, a little over 2 millimeters. And then once I get established that 45 in the depth of my girdle, then I'll put another 45 on that. I'll end up with a little flat spot in the middle here, then we'll start doming it. Let's get going. See, we're starting to establish that 45 and then working down towards the girdle there. All right, I established my girdle. I like the thickness. Got a nice 45 going. Well, 50-ish, I don't know. It's close enough. So now I'm going to get my pointer here. I'm going to cut a 45 into this, staying away from my girdle. We're going to take this and flatten this edge out, and like I said, we'll end up with a little flat spot right in the center here. Then we'll start doming. Okay, that is good enough for me. Got a little flat spot in the middle there. Now some books and people will tell you can just keep on cutting 45, so you're right, until the flat spot's gone, but that's close enough for me. I can start doming now. So, it's looking pretty good. I'm gonna like a little lower dome on that, so I'm gonna grind that down a little bit. Yeah, we've been lucky, haven't run any pockets yet like on the other side, so hopefully it'll stay like that. All right, I think I'm happy with that height right there. So we're gonna move on to the 220 grit. But basically what we're doing here is we're taking all the scratches out from the 80 grit. You gotta keep moving here because we can grind a flat spot in it with this too. right, looking pretty good there. We're moving on to the 280. So just rolling the edge off of it because I don't want a sharp edge right here. I can see I take a little bit more off of there. That looks good. That looks good. All right, we'll hit this here a little bit. Okay, I'm going to work on this tip on the corner here. All right, I think we're ready for polishing. Let's see, take a little peek here and see what we got. Yeah, looking good. Got a little indentation here, but I think I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to grind it any farther. All right, I'm going to move the camera, so I'm going to shut you off, and then we'll start polishing. Okay, I'm back. We're on polishing side. We got 600, 1200, and 3000, and then the cerium oxide's around the corner here. So we'll start with 600. So basically, when I'm on the polishing side, and the same thing with the 280 grit, I'm just rolling it back and forth from the top edge of the girdle, and then back and forth long ways, back and forth across. Just keep on switching it up, not pushing super hard. And then when I feel I'm done with that, then I'll roll the edges, and then just kind of angle out towards the cut right there while I'm rolling it slowly, maybe about 5 or 6 times around. Let's see what we got with the 600 grit. All right, starting to get a little polish going there. Now we'll move on to the 1200. All right, now we'll move on to the 3000. Well, let's take a peek and see what kind of shine we got now. That's not too bad. So we'll run it over on the cerium and see if we can increase this just a tad. So I gotta move you again. Okay, I'm all set up here. Got to put in my splash guard. I don't want to get water all over the place. All right, let's see what we can do with this. All right, I've dried off of my pants, and we'll take a look and see what we got. Oh yeah, that is nice. So I'm gonna take it upstairs, chuck it in the freezer, get it off the dop stick, and we'll take a better look at it. So we pulled the cab out of the freezer, got a nice clean break. I'll have to show you guys how I do this. I used to have a hard time with it, but the method I use now works really good. So we got a nice little cabochon here. Let's examine it. Here's the cabochon we made out of that prairie agate. Prairie agate's kind of sounds a little more romantic than prairie jasper or rock laying on the prairie. Obviously it's not an agate. Like I said, most of them are jasper, mixture of jasper, quartz, or chert. This one looks like jasper with a mixture of quartz. Now I noticed that we had a couple little crack. We had a crack here, and we had a crack here. Obviously, I can't grind those out. And then, luckily, we didn't have any druzy pocket pop through. There's the one on the back, but my wax filled that up. A little souvenir if anybody buys it. You can see the wax I use. Overall, though, the shine come out really good, I thought. Get some different colors and little stuff going on in there. Take a close look at this guy. So if you're wondering what happened to my thumb, I was working on my deck last week and was pounding some nails and just glanced at my thumb for like half a second, and that's where the next hammer blow fell, right on my thumb. Now, it don't hurt. It just looks like crap, but I'm fine. So I smooth the back and I cut the edges, but I do not polish the back. I figure this is the business end right here. You don't need to see what's on the back. So I'm gonna put a bail on this. Get a little bail here. And I use this stuff. This E6000 works really good. And the thing that's cool about this E6000 is if you don't want the bail on there, you can just pick it right off and then scratch all the E6000 off with your thumb, and you can't even tell it was ever on there. Or if you get hung up and your bail gets pulled off your cabochon, you can buy this stuff. Everybody sells it, and you can stick your cabochon or your bail back onto your cabochon. So we're going to put it right there. Now, because we got a point, you're going to see a little bit of the bail sticking out. But these are nice. These are silver-plated brass bails, so it'll be pretty still. There you go. One bailed up cabochon from South Dakota. Now, I go out there a couple times a year looking for rocks. My buddy happened to send this back to me. Thought it would make a cool cabochon. I've had prettier ones, and I've had ones that aren't so pretty. So there you have it. So this will be on my Etsy store eventually. I've been really bad about not getting stuff on there, but I'm going to try to make an effort to catch up here shortly. So if you're interested in it, you can look at it there. I got other stuff on there. You can browse around and see what other minerals and rocks I work on. So there you have it. Prairie agate from South Dakota. So we took this piece of rock laying from out in the prairie in South Dakota and made a beautiful cabochon out of it. This one right here. So I'd like to thank my subscribers. I really appreciate you coming back and giving me good comments and liking my material and all. Suggestions, help me with the words I can't pronounce. I just can't thank you enough. If you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. Just go down below and click on subscribe, and then slide over to and give me a thumbs up. Actually, I got this cute little thing that goes across here just to remind you. So next week, I got this big chunk of sodalite I've just been dying to slab and make a cabochon out of. So this will be next week's project. So thanks for coming by. Thanks for watching. Thanks for taking time out of your day to check out my video. I really appreciate it. So that's all I got. I'll catch you later.